Good morning, this is Lauren Roy from Temporary Treats. Today I wanted to show you one of the appliances that we have for rental, and it's mini cupcake maker. So I'm going to plug it back in so it will get heated up. It's already very hot. And I just want to let you know that I'm not by any means a professional at this videotaping stuff, so this is going to be one half instructional and the other half outtakes and bloopers through the whole thing. So, like I said, I had to plug that in so it heats up, and I'm going to show you how it works. One of the recipes, this one I'm making, is chocolate cupcakes, and that way you can kind of see how it works. And if you want to rent it, it's only $8. You can rent it for 5 days. So I figure you might want to use it a couple times to get the hang of it before your event, and then the day of your event. And then if you are like me, you don't want to have to race something right back the next day. So I give you a chance to have a day to chill out, relax after your great event, and then you can get it back to me. So I think 5 days for $8 as a rental is really great. You're also going to get the instruction manual with each appliance when you rent them, so you don't have to worry about, oh, where's that video of that girl making those cupcakes. So, again, forgive me if I turn my back to you, or if it kind of looks weird and chunky. Me, not the cupcakes. It's kind of just a practice thing for me, too. So the first thing that you need to do is put all your wet ingredients in, and it's 1/4 cup of milk, 1 egg, and half a teaspoon of vanilla. You'll notice that I only measure certain things. Other things, I use things like cover. So it's like a half a teaspoon at cover. Let's see. Let's check the recipe. And that's all for the wet ingredients. So you're going to just mix them up. Normally you could use your mixer, but I didn't want to make big loud noises in the video, so I'm going to just use my whisk, which is, oops, I'm sorry, I forgot, a teaspoon of melted butter. Melted butter. I knew there was one other wet ingredient. Alright, and then your dry ingredients, which is 2/3 of a cup of cocoa, 1-ish, 2-ish, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. So I'm going to say that that's like 2 really good pinches. You can use your measuring spoons if that's how you bake. I just never think to do that. 3/4 of a cup of sugar, and I'm going to use a half cup measure to make it a little easier. Less dishes to do. And 2/3 of a cup of flour. If I wanted to make these super healthy, I could use a bit of curly back flour or acorn flour. And if you want some more information about using those flours, get in touch with me and I'll tell you all about my book. But this is not that day. Okay, we also need a teaspoon of baking powder. I don't use, I don't know what it is, it's the 1 Calumet or the Dutch Girl baking powder, because it has aluminum phosphate in it, which is what they use in boxed cakes and boxed baking things to keep them fresh. I use red mill, and I've had last batch for probably a good year, just because I don't do a lot of baking anymore because the boys are all grown up. So again, it's about how much per teaspoon. I live naturally and I teach natural living, so I don't use things that are going to be filled with aluminum Just that whole snigly aluminum toxicity business. Okay, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda. So that's another 2 good punches. And I like to break the baking powder up because otherwise somebody's going to bite into the 1 piece of baking soda that's not mixed thoroughly. It's usually me. Alright, so I'm just mixing together my dry ingredients. And you can do it alternately, alternate the milk in the dry and the milk in the dry. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So just put your ingredients in a little bit, get them going with the whisk, a little bit more. So some of the other machines that I have while I'm mixing here is the mini pie maker, the mini pretzel maker, which was the one I actually wanted to do today, but I couldn't find my yeast. I didn't think I used all of it in the winter time, but I must have. And I have, what else do I have? A pancake maker, a great, really cool, it's not a small appliance, but it's a pan, cake that makes it into checkerboards. Makes the cake checkerboard. Lots of character cakes, cake pans, and the cake pans actually rent for a lot cheaper than the small appliances. They rent from between $3 and $4. It's kind of dry. I'm going to zip over to my refrigerator. I really think that's kind of dry, so to me, in my world, a recipe is a guideline. It's not like written in stone. The reason why I started this was because somebody was trying to sell me their pie maker at Rieta, and I was like, oh no, I don't need it, I don't need it. And as I walked away, I was like, everybody's got these things here. It's weird that, everybody buys them, they use them once, and then they just put them in the yard sale box. So I thought, oh wow, I should just go and buy all of these, and then I can rent them to people for a really cheap price, and I can make a little bit of money, and people won't have to go out and spend like $20 or $30 or whatever it happens to be to only use it once. Why would you do that? And of course, I went back to get the pie maker, and she had already sold it, but I was very lucky, and I found one later on. Okay, so the batter is all stirred up. I'm going to clean up a little bit so I can try and move the laptop so you can see what's going on. Excuse my cabinet. Excuse all this other stuff in the way. My chocolate-covered mouse. Alright, it's kind of, it's not like rocket surgery, but let me see. I'm going to turn this around now and bend it down so you can see there. Alright. So you're supposed to heat it up, plug it in while you're making the batter, and that will give it enough time to heat up. It's Teflon, so you shouldn't need to oil it at all. And make sure that when you take cupcakes out, you use something like these large skewers, a rubber spatula, a wooden spoon. Don't use anything sharp because you don't want to scratch it, because if you scratch it, you're not going to get your deposit back. And your deposit's just double the rental. So if you're renting this cupcake maker, you're renting it for $8, you're giving an $8 deposit, and if it comes back clean and there's nothing wrong with it, you get your $8 back. Alright, so I'm going to take a little bit and put a little bit in each one so as to fill it up. Right off the side. Kind of a cross between trying to hurry up so I'm not boring you with gory reading games or not making a mess, but according to my husband and my mother, I bake like my grandmother from one end of the kitchen to the other. And nobody nobody's ever really complained about the outcome. Unless, of course, you're the one having to clean up after me. And that's usually not me. I have this philosophy that if I made the mess, I shouldn't have to clean it up. Or people would say, oh, do you have a dishwasher? And I would say, I have 3, my husband and my 2 boys. Okay, so now you can see it's filled up, and I'm going to shut the cover. And it says in the instruction manual that you'll see the lights go on and off and on and off. And that's not like there's a problem with the machine. It's just the thermostat regulating the temperature. So it says that it takes 5 to 7 minutes. It's 12:36 now. So you know what I'll do while we're waiting? I'll sing to you like I used to sing to the kids in the restaurant. No, I won't. I'll tell you a little bit about the aluminum phosphate and the other flours that I was talking about. I wrote a book called The Modern Pioneer and Almanac of Natural Living, and it's a guide in helping people, real people, get to living a more natural life in a real way, not some weird dig a hole or collect guns kind of way, but like a real way for real people. And one of the things that I teach is that there is free food all over the place, and one of the most easily recognizable is acorn flour. Acorns, they grow all over the place. They are free. They do take a bit of processing, but think of that as the equity that you're putting into the end result. They're higher in protein, lower in fat, so it's a great alternative to white flour. And the best part is it's free. The other one that I talked about was Curly Dock. That would take a little bit more explanation, but you can certainly check out the Facebook page for Modern Pioneer and Almanac of Natural Living, or buy the book, which is at Balboa Press or Amazon or Barnes & Noble online. And I do a free workshop. If you buy the book, you can say, I need more help with this, and I do a free workshop with every purchase. The other thing I teach in the book is that there are certain things that you want to stay away from, and aluminum is one of them. Aluminum is in shampoo, it's in deodorant, it's in our kitchens, it's in our pans, it's in our tin foil. A buildup of that can actually cause illnesses that present very much like Alzheimer's and MS and Parkinson's. And really, we're seeing an increase of those illnesses. And one of the reasons is because we're all being made toxic by all of this junk. So I don't use any of that stuff. If I have to use tin foil, I put a piece of parchment paper between the food and the tin foil, so it's not touching it completely. But I just can't stand the smell and the taste. Like, I'll go down the baking aisle in the grocery store, and I can literally smell the aluminum phosphate in all of those box cakes. It's just gross. And honestly, if you see me baking, it took me, 3 or 4 minutes to make that batter from scratch. It's literally the same amount of time to open a box, pour in the oil, pour in the egg, and mix it up. It doesn't take that much time. It's better for your family. So we have about 1 more minute, but I'm going to check them anyhow and see how they're doing. And it says to check them, and you'll know that they're done because they'll start pulling away from the sides of the pan. So let's see if they're doing that. There we go. Ew. The old-fashioned test, see? It's kind of still goopy in the middle, so I'm going to give them another minute or so. And then I will take them out and put them on the cooling rack. And I'm going to continue making them, but I'm not going to make you stand here and watch me make a couple dozen mini cupcakes. If you have an idea for an appliance that you would like me to carry, let me know. Go on to the Tasty Temporary Treats Facebook page and drop me a note. If you have one for sale, let me know. I'm willing to buy them, but I can't pay more than $5 because, it's a very cheap business. I'm not making a lot, and so I can't spend a lot on capital. But let's try this again. By the magic of laptop vision. Let's see. Try this other one back here. Ooh, it came out clean. So I'm going to see how easy it is to get these suckers out of here. There we go. That's one. I think they would have come out a little bit easier if I hadn't filled them up so much. So keep that in mind. But they seem to be coming out fairly easily. Stick them on my cooling rack. I bought myself a new cooling rack, and I kind of felt like I was giving up on my old ones, but they were so old, probably 20 or 30 years old, that they weren't cooling anymore. They had broken down to the point where they were just sitting on the counter. I love this new one because it's big. You get lots of cookies and 2 cakes and 2 pans on it. Okay, so here you have it. You can see my oven mitt on. It does get hot. It's fairly clean. So all you need to do when you're done is wipe it out with a paper towel, a little, damp paper towel. Let it cool down a bit, and then see, it's just coming right off. So there you go. It's not going to take a whole lot to clean this thing off, and I do expect them to be clean, not scratched, because I have pictures of what it looks like on each one of them. Goes out the door, and that's the way I expect them to come back. And I don't think that's too much to ask. So there you have it, folks. Mini cupcake maker. Next week I will have yeast and I will make the mini pretzels. I thought that one was pretty cool. So until then, happy baking. Bye-bye.